construction industry and those that are providing services. And across the country, we've seen a number of issues in the last person, very important, also important, but the construction. I started when I was 10 years old. I decided not to play baseball. I didn't realize at the age of 10 that I would be doing this. Worked on all kinds of, okay, there we go. Worked on all kinds of microwave radio towers all across the Midwest. And I knew that I probably didn't want to do that all my life because that is dangerous, which is one of the other stereotypes. It's fact. It can be very dangerous. But the fact that there is a future in construction and money could be made in it is very obvious. I think a lot of people in this room really get that. Because you're dealing with, whether you're in real estate or you're in construction, you're in architecture, or you're in investments in multifamily properties or whatever, you have an idea of what construction is necessary, why it's necessary, excuse me. Boring, hot, and dangerous. Boring and hot, yes and no. It's hot in Florida, it's not hot everywhere, and sometimes it's freezing cold outside. So there are some things here that you're going to say, oh yeah, that's true. The dangerous part, though, has been changed quite a bit. When I worked for AT&T and I worked 350 feet, 400 feet in the air, my safety harness didn't exist. They didn't have them. I had a tool belt and I had a strap. And now, you know, with OSHA 1926, you have a lot of different requirements to make certain that you're safe. So the industry has gotten safer and safer every single year. Number 3, male-dominated industry. Still true. But it's changing very rapidly. There are more and more women construction managers, more and more owners, more and more licensed people, and they're actually very, very good to deal with. Trying to diversify a company is really important when it comes to getting rid of stereotypes. And I will tell you that I have tried and tried. I'm just now getting more women into my business, which is good. And the last one is it's for the uneducated and the unskilled. So, are these stereotypes fact or myth? They're both, right? I've already kind of mentioned that. One of the things that's really, really important is that in my world, it's important to be professional, it's important to get certifications, it's important to continue to learn so that you can bring a level of professionalism and remove some of these stereotypes. In Florida, we have a lot of problems with fraud. And that's not good for our industry. The stereotype in Florida tends to lead a little bit more towards, and this is those were national numbers, but it tends to be a lot about fraud where we have people moving into our state, they get a license, and the next thing you know, they're taking somebody's money because they don't understand the business and they don't understand the cost of construction. But construction is extremely necessary for our society to survive, right? This quote here, which I'm going to let you read, I'm not going to read it to you. But at the end there, it says, progress and construction go hand in hand. We can't have one without the other. Our society, our economy, and our culture are all dependent upon the construction industry. Where would we sleep? Where would we have our businesses? Where would we go to school? Where would we manufacture? Even though manufacturing is down to 8%, where would we do these things, right? In society today, we have the no-growthers that come out and say we don't need construction. They don't need it in their backyard. Well, I think everybody in this room is very aware of the housing crisis across the country. We're over 1 million units short of our current need. We are not building to the levels that we were building at in the past. We need construction, but we need to professionalize the industry more and more every day. You look at this house, and I'm sorry that picture didn't come out as well as I wanted, but that house is not built by people without skills. That's an all-concrete construction house. Those railings are handmade. Interior part of it, which I'm not allowed to show because an attorney, he doesn't want me to show his house to anybody on the inside. But it is something that is done with people of skill. And unfortunately, we don't have the same numbers of people with skill in the trades coming into it. The stereotype is that you need to go to college. That's fine, you can still go to college if you want to. But there's so many people that can't get through college, can't afford college. They need to come out right now and go to work after high school. I'll tell you a problem with that one, though. I hired a kid right out of high school. He was dynamic. He played football in high school. I figured he had a work ethic. He didn't make his 90 days. It's unfortunate. The work ethic has to be taught. We have to train. I look at myself and my team as part of that failure. But coaching didn't seem to work. And unfortunately, I'm back to square one on trying to bring younger people in and working on that now. We have to work with them. I'm in part of a program in Florida called the Future Builders of America, and we do a camp every year where we bring them in and we teach them skills, but part of the skills we teach them are life skills. How to sit down and eat at a formal table. How to balance a checkbook. We start talking about money and how you need to save money to be able to grow a business, and why it's important that if you want to own your own business when you get out into this trade, you don't waste your money. You don't work Monday, get a check on Friday, and spend it all on the weekend. So construction is not about qualifications. And in my world, and Randy talked about team yesterday and leadership. Leadership, at times you feel very alone. Well, building my company, there were times I felt very alone. And it's not about, when you work for my company, it's not about what you know. It's about whether or not you fit my family. Because I put my lifeblood and my heart into my company. It's my everyday thing, and that's the only person or entity I spend more time with than my wife. So they've got to know how to interact. They've got to know how to be part of a team and work together. And then we coach them further so that they can be professional with the clients, because every single person in our country touches our clients at one point or another. And I'm very fortunate to say I've never gotten a complaint on one of my employees when they've worked for someone at someone's home. I don't know what happened to this picture. The preconceptions in construction industry have been created over a number of years, whether it's the male-dominated or the generally unskilled environment and that it's unsafe. The preconceptions they've been hard to shake, and they're still hard to shake, but it's not the whole story. The preconceptions are being challenged throughout the industry, with most organizations actively implementing diversity policies to support the recruitment of individuals from all backgrounds. When I worked for AT&T, I was on a tower crew, and there were 2 females on that crew in 1986. That's a pretty big deal. 1 African American and 1 white female. They were part of the team. They worked well with the guys. Quite frankly, these aren't coming up right, sorry. Quite frankly, they, the one gal particularly carried the weight of many. She was very good on the tower. She was a very strong worker, very good ethics. And we have to understand that might have been in 1986, but we haven't moved that far along, and yet more and more people are getting in the industry. This is my key team player right here. My number 1 person in my office is Michelle. She was not my first hire. Her husband was my first hire. And you'll see him here. No, you're not. Anyway, I hired Paul. He was, I had built their house when I worked for another builder, and then I started this company. And I hired Paul to come into my company and learn more about running the business and working, behind the scenes. And he started just doing permitting stuff. Then he went into doing estimating with me, and then he went to where he took that over. So it's coaching, and it's training, and it's teaching. His background, no college education. He had a roofing business in Michigan, and he was working at Home Depot in contractor sales. But he's a team player, and he was willing to learn. He's my longest standing employee, and he makes $75,000 a year. I really want to go back, but Michelle is my controller. And after I hired Michelle, and she helped me get the business side of the business tight. I have cash flow reports every week. In fact, I've already been studying mine for this week. I have the sales numbers. I have the construction projects in progress numbers. Everything is to a T. I'm trying to make her life easier by creating a dashboard. So I'm bringing in a contract company to help create a dashboard to make her life easier as I grow the business, and I'll get to that. But one of the things that we do in our office, my company's mission is to build dreams and relationships. And the mission statement comes in as we will be known for doing the right thing for our customers, our subcontractors, our suppliers, and our community. Because for me, it's most important to give back to the community that's feeding my family. It's very important to be engaged. How do you do that? Well, you get involved with some nonprofits. We've built a couple of Habitat for Humanity houses in 7 days. I know you don't want to normally do that. The slab's poured, the infrastructure's already in place, and then we frame the walls and put the roof trusses on and all that stuff and finish it out. And yes, we work about 12 to 14 hours a day to get that done in a 7-day period. But we're assisting in the community, and my trade contractors and myself, we provide all the labor for free. The typical construction site, people groan about. When the equipment shows up on site and you have a loader coming in to clear and take trees out and do all this stuff, they really aren't happy about that because they know it's going to be dirty and dusty and create problems for them. So one of the things that we do is we send a letter out, and we also knock on doors around the neighborhood. We go to them and say, hey, here's my superintendent, say, this is my card. You see anything, have any issues, don't worry about anything, just call me, I'll take care of it. So when a trade contractor shows up on the job and turns the music up too loud, which is a violation of our policies, we get those phone calls and we take care of it. And whether it's getting the silt fence up properly so that you're not having the dust as bad or what have you, all the steps we take to reach out to them helps to professionalize the industry, our image, and shows that we're going to be a proper community engager to solve problems before they start, hopefully. And while you can't change the negative side effects of construction, you can minimize them just with some of those ideas I'm throwing out there. Additionally, by becoming more aware of the day-to-day activities of construction sites, people can become more familiar. So what do? We show them, we let them come over to the property, we walk them through the property, they're interested to see what's going on. We ask them not to do that by themselves, they still do, but we have safety issues on the site, and of course we want them to be able to see it and explain to them what's going on. But some other things we've done is we use drone footage, and they love drone footage. A basic idea to just make friends is huge. It's huge in our construction industry, and we utilize it every single day, and it also leads to sales. It's one of the things that's helped us get additional jobs. And then through all these interactions, it'll help build an understanding of what construction does and why. It'll generate interest in the field, and again, some of the negative influences go away, and the construction site becomes more of a friendly place for them, and we become their friends. So how do you get involved in the community? You appoint a liaison. You have a point person. Their key thing is one of their key things, obviously, is to go out and figure out where our industry needs assistance, where we can help train people, whether it's the young kids, whether it's going out and reaching out into the community with Habitat for Humanity, whether it's the Center of Abuse and Rape Emergencies or Fred Lang Foundation, which we're involved in, which is for behavioral health issues, substance abuse, and mental health care. We picked some of these things because they're very needed in our community, but they're also rewarding to be involved in, and my team enjoys being known for, doing the right thing. Create publications to highlight progress and feature employees in those. We do that. The drone footage. Be sure to detail progress and call attention to any major disruptions construction may cause. Extremely important, again. Remind employees that they're a representative, not just to the company, but the industry as a whole. They have to understand that our image can be tainted by their actions, not just the company, again, the industry as a whole. Always be respectful, engage, answer questions when people are asking about what's next and when do you have the concrete trucks coming in and when's that crane coming. We just got into modular buildings. Modular buildings are something to speed up the delivery of a product, obviously, and right now it's necessary for some people to go that route. Brings on a whole another challenge. The disruption, particularly on this island community we're going to be setting this first one on, the roads are tight. They're going to have to be blocked off. We're going to have to engage law enforcement, let them know what's going on, and we're going to have to go around and talk to the neighbors and say, here's the date that this is coming. We just want you to be aware of it. We'll have everything set. We'll show them on a map how we're going to set things up, and that way they can avoid where we're going to be, and we shouldn't disrupt their life too much. And again, I talked about offering tours of the site when it's safe to do so. That's something that's really important. Again, Habitat for Humanity. I get involved in panel discussions a lot of times and active in professional organizations. So I'm on the board for the National Association of Home Builders. I'm a past president of the Florida Home Builders Association. And with that brings, it's not just a status thing. I know people think that. It really has brought a lot of knowledge to me from people from around the state and around the country. To get on a national call with folks that do things way different than us gives us an opportunity to evaluate where their methods may benefit our company. Again, learning, making us more professional, reaching out, showing that it's important. This is a copy of the letter that we send out. If we know their name goes on there, not dear neighbor. But anyway, we let them know that we're going to be here. We let them know we're coming into their area. We let them know that we're going to be disrupting their world for a while. And some of the houses we build take 2 years. The last one we finished up that was 2 years, well, it was just under 2 years of construction time, was a 13,500 square foot house. This other is job site rules. We post those rules. I put the fine in on cleaning up after them because when I worked for another builder, I spent 13 hours one week cleaning up trash. And I went back to him and I said, you've got to do something about these guys not cleaning up after themselves. I don't have time for this. He said, well, you get paid no matter what. I said, that's 13 hours I have to make up. And the job sites look terrible, and the neighbors don't like it, and it makes us look like crap. He didn't care. That was one of the final straws that said to me, I need to go do my own thing, right? Community involvement and engagement, again, I'm going to get into salaries here and some other things, but I want to reach out more to the schools. I've done that with the teachers in the trade schools. I've reached out to them about who do you have that would be a good candidate to come into a company that has an interest. I'm not just looking for somebody who says, I need a job. I'm looking for somebody who says, I want to own a company someday. That's the people that I want because I want to help train them and bring them through the process and get them established. If they want to go to school, I've offered to pay for it. I think it's important that we be the right mentors and leaders for our industry, and that's another avenue by which we can become more professional and do a better job. Visiting career fairs, we just unfortunately had one this week. I'm not there. And I like to do it myself. I could send somebody, but I like to go myself because I like to meet these kids. When I hire anybody again, I want to know them. I want to be able to look in their eye and get a good feeling for them. And I really, if I'm meeting somebody at a job fair, I want to know that I want to invite them to my office to come and sit down and have a chat, right? But we've got to mentor these kids and anybody, actually. I don't care if they're coming back from the military. Great avenue for people. In fact, 4 of my employees are former military people. They have been great employees. You can read the other things that are up there, but construction is a lucrative career. You take a guy out of high school who did not have, when he moved to Florida, he didn't have a job. And Paul, he has been tremendous. I don't think he ever saw the potential that he had. And for him to be making $75,000 a year doing what he's doing without a college degree is pretty good. It's way above the average income in our area by about $40,000. His wife makes the same kind of money, just so you know. And they are well worth it, and then I benefit them out at the end of the year with incentives, so they get bonuses. Everybody in my company, we do well, they do well. They all get more money, and when they get more money, they carry the message beyond what I even can carry it. So it's very important to establish the right environment in your company, so that when you're working with your people, they see the pride that you have in them, and by them understanding the pride that you have in them, they'll carry that pride out there, and they will be that way within the community. They will be more professional. You just heard about marketing, web presence. I don't need to really talk about that, but I will tell you that going with a contract person is a good idea. I've hired a contract person to assist my in-house person. We respond directly to inquiries. We don't have a bot set up. And I don't want a bot. We want to be able to reach out to them in a personal manner, whether it's through a phone call, if they leave us a phone number, or a direct email, or what have you. We want to reach out to them. But we established this about 3 months ago. So I'm kind of new to really getting engaged in this, but I'll explain more of that further. But this presence across the board is something that's made a huge difference already. We're getting more and more people following us and understanding what we do, because when we did a resort renovation project with 13 buildings, everybody thought we went to commercial only. And then we go back over and we build these big houses, and they say, well, you only build houses. No, we don't just build big houses. We do restaurants, we do renovation work, we're certified in carbon fiber, we're doing modular construction, and we're moving into the development world here in the next short period of time. Actually, I'll be in Ohio next week for that. That's our website. Our summary: by rebranding construction, we can attract new talent. By explaining to people how important the environment is in the construction industry, I think we can bring more people into it. By understanding that you can be more than a bricklayer or a block mason or a concrete person, a flat works guy. One of my guys that I hired, my concrete guy, came to me and said, Travis is wasting his talent here. He doesn't need to stay in concrete. He needs to move on. Would you hire him? I hired Travis. Travis came to work for me. He's a heck of a laborer, number one, but then he got into some trouble. He started disappearing from work. He got on drugs, and we had to fire him. He came back a year later, and he said, would you give me another chance? I cleaned myself up. I said, start next Monday. He's been with me for now back on payroll for 5 years. Last year, I bought him a brand new F-350. I've got a 16-foot trailer, a skid steer, a track hoe, and now he does all our little site work stuff because we can't get people fast enough. That's how much I believe in people being able to change and giving them an opportunity, and that's the thing that the industry has got to do more of, whether it's people who have had issues with PTSD, somebody coming out of maybe even prison or out of jail. We have to find a way to work them into the system and get them to the level that we need them to be, but we have to find new avenues for employees while still focusing on professionalism. There's a lot of opportunity in transforming the industry. It's a lot of work. I've been around the country having conversations with people, not doing so many presentations like this, but having conversations of how we work together. I deal with the state legislature on the fraud issue. I was able to bring it to the majority leader and our local senator to fight for a change in the statute, because in Florida it said you had to prove intent to defraud at the time of signing a contract. Now, our state's attorney, when I went to her, she said, Bill, I can't prove intent when they sign the contract unless they say in writing, I'm going to steal your money. But the fact of the matter is, in Florida, many people have done that. Again, affecting the level of professionalism and the stereotype that wasn't on the top four, but it is in Florida and it's visible in Florida. I continue to fight that battle. I continue to fight the unlicensed activity. Those folks also hurt our industry because people think we allow it, and the industry has got to continue to stand up and fight against it. And we need to remind people of the power of construction and how much the modern world is literally built by the industry. Literally built by the world, right? We build that world. Eventually people will go from it's just construction to wow, it's construction. And my photos aren't coming up. So I had pictures of some houses, and I had some pictures of some skyscrapers. And then I had that old Rockwell picture of a guy sitting on that steel beam building a building, Empire State Building or one of them, right? Those guys did a lot with little, right? I give them all kinds of accolades for what they could do and their ability to do it, but things aren't built like they used to be, and the industry isn't what it used to be. Technology has moved us forward, whether it's in CRM or whether it's in project management software or what have you. It's come a long way. Building the team is important. Certifications are important. Getting your message out is important. And that community involvement picture was one of my proudest pictures, and I don't know why it's not showing. But that was the family moving into the Habitat House. So little Ben became the little buddy of all of us in our organization. And we still go by and see him. He had a great time getting to come to the project, and he was born with a lot of challenges. And when we asked Ben when they were moving in that day, Ben, tell us about this house. He said, this is my house. This is my house. Great little kid, phenomenal family, has a little sister now who he adores dearly, and that's why I do what I do, because giving back is something that's really important, and seeing that family being so happy to have a house is extremely important. But always remember, the professionalism has got to be there, and we've got to fight the stereotypes and fix those that are fact and move forward. So with that, I will stop. My time is up. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. This is my second time I've been to the conference. I love this conference. I learn a lot from everybody that comes, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah, I'm fine. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I also work for a Truex design build contractor, and we're in the same team. Everything that you mentioned about women in leadership, half of our executives are women. We have so many women that are project managers on our job sites, on our job sites. It's just phenomenal advances that made in the last 30 seconds.
About mentorship.
We have a mentorship program that we put all of our new employees through, college graduates, people that have a lot of experience in the industry. People that don't have a lot of experience in the industry. And we also have an apprenticeship program. We have guys that we train and we put them through the electrical apprenticeship program. These guys go through the program for 4 years, come out earning a lot more money than a college graduate with no debt. That's the wave of the future. It's just finding people that maybe college isn't for them.
Right.
Put them through the apprenticeship program. They come out, they're making great money, and then they also have the potential to get into leadership and management with the company years down the road, and they're doing much better than they ever would have if they would have went to college.
I agree wholeheartedly. In 1987, I went to a fiber crew at AT&T, and I made $10 an hour in 1987 working for AT&T. But there were people that had been there at that company for a period of time that were making $100,000 a year in 1987 splicing fiber cable. You got to look at what's right for you. I didn't want to splice fiber and work on microwave radio towers all my life, although I will tell you, as scary as working on towers was, it was one of the most rewarding things for me because it taught me something about myself. And this is something that we can do in construction. We can teach people that they can overcome certain things, right? I went out of college. I have an economics degree. I came out of college. I went to work in an industry, but in the process of going through interviews, I was like a cat on a tin roof. I was all over the place, right? And I went to Roadway Express to go to their management training program. And so the story is they didn't hire me. I went to work for a division of Auburn Industries, and then I had to get out of an office, and I wanted to be out in the field. So I stood on a tower in Naperville, 325 feet in the air, saying, can I do this? Can I go out on that piece of steel and take out that plate and put in a new heavier plate because they're going to put another antenna on this tower? And I looked over and I saw the Chicago skyline, and I turned back around and I saw the planes, and I said, I am not going back to that damn office. And by doing what I did, I went back to work because my wife told me as we were approaching our wedding that I was going to find another job, that I wasn't going to be on the road 8 to 12 weeks at a time. And I'm like, ooh, I hadn't thought about that. So I came back and I said, well, I'm going to go back to Roadway. I'm going to interview with them. And one of the assistant terminal managers who interviewed me the first time interviewed me the second time. And he said to me, Bill, what in the hell happened to you? You're a totally different guy. And I said, I figured if I can work 350 to 400 feet in the air, I'm not going to be afraid of coming in here and having a conversation with you anymore. So it did make a difference for me. It changed me quite a bit. I was always very skittish. I don't know why, just kind of how I was made, I guess. Another side note, I'm also a county commissioner, so I'm an elected official, and I'm not so afraid of microphones anymore, evidently, right? Actually, this is more intimidating than talking to constituents, but, because we have so many experts in the room. But you can make money in this industry. You can find a niche that's right for you. And I think that with the technology changes that we've seen and the ability to be more professional in how we deliver what we choose to deliver, it's really going to continue to move our industry forward. And I find a lot of pride in taking people who think of construction and contractors as the old pickup truck to what we have today in our office, and what some of my friends now who have seen me go through this modification and the change and the growth and how I'm doing it. I now have regular meetings with a couple of my friends who want to know how to do that design build contract. They want to know how to do that cost plus process. How are you showing your people, what you're doing? I'm a totally open book. And so all my clients see all my costs. They know what I'm making. I don't care. Why? Because I want to bring a level of transparency and professionalism that other people don't want to bring. And I've had a lot of people say, wow, I really appreciate that. And some of them read every single invoice. They get copies of everything I get, every bill I get. Some of them don't even look at it. They just write the check. But at the end of the day, they have the information if they want it, and again, another level of professionalism that others don't deliver or are afraid to try to move to. Any other questions?
Actually, we're at time, and I just want to thank you again. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.